Boker Tov, good morning. It is a sunny day out, so let's go with the sun. Let's not dwell on the cold, although it is much warmer today than it's been in days prior, so that's good. And so here we are at Friday once more. It seems like the weeks, as you're in the day, it seems like it's taking forever, but it feels like we go from one Shabbat to the next pretty quickly, or it feels like we arrive at Shabbat much quicker than it feels like we can make it through even sometimes a single day. And so as we continue in this Parsha, as we continue in Parshat Vayera, we are touching on another tidbit today. That is the idea of taking responsibility. So it's easy to take responsibility when things are going perfectly or according to plan or easily or smoothly. And then other times taking responsibility is something that we resist. And depending on what the responsibilities are, some are challenging and some feel burdensome, and some are just, hey, this isn't so hard. When we think about children, especially having a difficult time, whether it's learning, whether it's socialization, whatever the things are, the realization that they can't just play all the time and they need to learn and they need to do other things. Sometimes, even for us as adults, we realize that our schedules are inundated with so many things: activities, chores, doctor's appointments, car servicing, whatever the things are that some of them are great and wonderful and things we want to do, but they clog up our schedule. And then when things happen that are beyond our scheduling ability, but need to find their way onto the schedule, we are burdened. We are overwhelmed. We are feeling frustrated. We are feeling like, holy cow, I can't do another thing. I don't have time for this, but I need to do this, etc. And so finding this balance between work and play, work and freedom and freedom, depending on what we're doing, this divide between structured and unstructured time. I think that some of us, fill in our calendars from start to finish, and there's so little room for wiggle. So seldom we have a chance to just say, hey, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants and do whatever today. But perhaps we can learn something about accepting responsibility from this week's Parsha, this week's Torah reading. Moses at the burning bush doesn't want to accept responsibility for freeing his people from slavery. In facing Pharaoh, Moses is afraid that neither Pharaoh nor his own people will listen to him. But he has this struggle that is ongoing, and that which is a speech impediment or a slow tongue, as it were called. It was a stutter. He had trouble because he felt insecure in his ability to communicate. So he didn't want the praise of freeing his people. He also didn't want the the communication. He didn't want the confrontation. He didn't want the face-to-face with Pharaoh to begin with, because he didn't feel like he could communicate. He didn't want to be at fault either for the fight against Pharaoh or taking so long to get his people, our people, the Jews, out of Egypt. But in the end, he's able to accept responsibility. God, understanding that Moses is anxious about communicating, appoints Aaron, Moses' brother, as a spokesperson. So in this, Moshe is compensated for his weakness. Hey, wait a second. We see that things are so hard for you. We see that things are hard for our children. We see that things are hard for ourselves. And we figure out whatever that weakness is, and we support it in whatever way we can. Many of us are concerned about the appointment of a new president, the appointment of a new vice president, the idea of the quick changes that are happening. And we find ourselves compensating for perhaps the inequity, the insufficiency, the lack of regard for all God's creatures and humans and creations. And we find ourselves compensating for the one, whoever it is, that is causing the turmoil. We find ourselves having to do so much more work just to make things work out for people to feel supported in structured and unstructured time. It is difficult when there's insecurity, when we feel insecure, when we're worried about our friends, our families, the future. And there are things that, God willing, will be positive, though I can't see it yet. I'm hopeful because it's all we have. But we realize that taking responsibility is not to turn your head and say, "Ugh, I can't change anything anyway, so I'll just go with it." Or I won't go with it. I'll, be angry, wasting time, wasting energy, depleting myself. But you know what? I can't do anything about it, so I won't take responsibility. Rather, the idea is there are people that can help support those in need, and we need to support them, appoint them, support them, get the word out. For there are people, so many different types of people just in this week that have been so profoundly affected in negative ways since Monday. And so we have to try to figure out how we can be the Aarons for Moshe, how we can be the voice for the voiceless, how we can bring possibility and change, and if nothing else, support to one another. It's not so easy. But we do it here because we do it together. We show each other that, hey, we might not like what's happening, but we're not going to just give up. Rather, we're going to find our voice. And we're going to stand up and we're going to do what we need to do the best way that we know how to do it. And it may not be perfect, but we're not going to be willing to give it up. And so I have, by request, it's not live, it's recorded, a little bit of Shabbat hopefulness and happiness. Ellis did a little video for you guys this morning. It's not perfect, but this is what we do. We give voice to the youth. We give voice to ourselves. We think about the people in our community, in our extended family. There was, 2 deaths this week. One of Susan Dostis, who is the beloved mother of 2 of our congregants, but more so 2 of our friends. And she was buried yesterday, and the death of a dear family friend for, I don't know, 20 plus years, 25 maybe, Linda Sporn Gomez, who entered life eternally yesterday. And when I think of these two people, these are people that showed up. These are people that stayed present. These are people that, despite the challenges that they had physically and the experiences that they were dealt in life, is the constant reminder of why we show up for one another in the world and why we continue to work and fight and bring about the change that's needed. And if nothing else, showing up as a presence and a support for one another. So I'm going to try and play this video. We're going to be hopeful that it works. If not, I'm going to have to post it separate. But let me see that I can get that to work for you. Let's see. Okay. Send it from my phone. I think that's the best way to do it. Let's see. I had it set up, but you know what happens when that is the case. Alrighty. Share it. Thank you, Jennifer. Alright, let's get this here. And we will AirPlay. Of course, it couldn't just be easy, right? Looks like I might have to. Okay, let's see if this works. I'm hopeful. Okay. See if we got it here. Ella said, "Are we gonna do it? Something for your friends?" I said, "Yeah, we'll do it for my friends." He said, "Okay. I want to do something about Shabbat." I said, "Okay." And so, let's try to get this to work for us. The file is big, of course. Come on. Let's see, give it one more second. The file is kind of big. It's like a 5-minute video. So we might just have to post it as soon as I get off the live. But let me just give it one more second to populate. In the meantime, I'm thinking about hoping, praying that more hostages will be released this week, as they said they would. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm also thinking about that we'll see each other today at 6:30 for Shabbat services. So again, that's 6:30 tonight. So we'll hope that you'll be there for that. And this is not coming through. So I'm going to post it. Don't go. As soon as this is over, go back to the Facebook page and the video will be there. I'm not sure why it's, the file is just too big, I think. Thank you for joining me, Bomsey, Geneva, Suze, Bet, Linda, Cindy and Gabor, Paula, Elisa, Amy. All of you are truly a blessing as we go into the Shabbat. Let us remind ourselves about taking responsibility. Not to say I'm turning my head because, you know what, I don't have any control over that, or it is what it is, but rather to say, you know what, I have control of what I do have control over. And so let me, if I can't, find someone that can, so that we can continue to lift up love and lift up acceptance and show the people that are born the way they are and show up in the world the way they are that they truly matter and that we are all part of this tapestry of life, for we are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you super soon, like in a few hours. I'll see you at 6:30, everybody. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Ora Avinu Chai. Shabbat Shalom.